What's good? It's your boy Xander Dukes, the dude with the tea, the juice. And today we sipping on double standards. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I put on Instagram a questions box and I said, what do y'all think about double standards? And there was a handful of people that replied. So basically what I'm doing now is taking those replies because they were pretty like a wide range of issues that all have to do with gender, men and women, that type of stuff. So I'm just gonna be kind of compiling those things together and putting it in a more cohesive format. All right, first I'm gonna be talking about women in work environments. And I think a good place to start there is to just acknowledge that women have not always been invited into the work environment. And that's goes not it's not that far, it's not that long ago where women couldn't have jobs, where women were stuck inside the house because society told them to, which was men. You know, men always told women, no, you stay in the house. I'm the one that's going to go out and make money and be a breadwinner. And I think that that's pretty interesting. And I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. I'm going to just hold off on that for a second. So now women are actually undeniably in the workforce. You know, they're, I think I seen a stat that said black women are now the most educated one group in the US. So the times are past changed. We can't act like women don't work with us, go to school with us, all those things. And I think even though that we may acknowledge that they're physically there, a lot of the ways that we carry ourselves and behave does not acknowledge or recognize first their presence and then the significance of their presence. And that's really messed up, bro, because everybody got a mom, everybody got a sister, everybody got somebody they got a crush on. No guy is out here leading a life totally void of a woman's presence, you know? So you got to be able to respect it. And so in the workplace, because that a lot of men aren't used to women being, well, no, I can't even say that. By now, a lot of men, if you're in the workforce, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, you probably have been working around women for a long time. But again, that just talks about, that goes to show how much a woman's presence is respected inside the workplace, in school, wherever you may be, because the social rules, the social behaviors that we follow don't reflect something that shows that we respect them being here and that we think they should be here and we respect what they can contribute to whatever environment we're in. And so what happens is when a woman is maybe in a leadership position or maybe not even in a leadership position, but she just is about her job, she's about getting her task done right and efficiently and on time, people take issue with that. And they got certain adjectives that they want to use to describe women, you know, you know the word. They like assigning that word to a woman who has strong characteristics. But if those same characteristics are in a man, we admire those things. And I know that's something, I know I'm not saying nothing new, but the fact is that we know these things and they're not being said enough. So it's not like I think I'm up here saying something miraculous never been said before, but I'm going to reiterate it because we acting like we don't know it. For example, we've known about the wealth gap in how men and women get paid different. I've known about it personally for years now, and now as somebody who's just turned 20, for me to be cognizant of it, I know that there's for me to be cognizant of it, I know that there's a plethora amount of people who know about it, who can actually do something about it to change it. But it's an issue that something like that doesn't get pushed onto the agenda. We get caught up in still trying to keep the businesses afloat and keep making money that we forget about the things that really matter. Like how we gonna run a business? Like a lot of places, I'm so I'll probably look up stats at another time. Maybe I'll do it after and throw them in here. But for the amount of work that women put into the world we live in, to not want to treat them adequately and not want to give them what they're entitled to, but then still expect them to help run our businesses, that's kind of whack. Like, even if you look at the position of a secretary, a lot of people want to undermine what a secretary does. And a lot of people think a woman always has to be a secretary. You can have a male secretary, men can be secretaries. But when a woman's in that position, it's like, oh, she just takes the phone calls. Oh, she just does the scheduling, whatever. Bruh, you know how many people out there can't schedule for their life? Like, People need secretaries. Secretaries are an important job, and it's wrong to undervalue the position just because that a woman is there, you know? Because I feel like if a man was there, I don't know, it could be different. It may not be, but the fact that women, we know women aren't really respected in the workplace, and that that position as a secretary isn't respected, I don't think it's any coincidence there. But like any large social complex that's been a part of our culture, that's been indoctrinated in our everyday lives, it takes a minute for it to change. And it really shouldn't. The only reason that it takes a minute to change is because people still want to hold on to old sexist beliefs, you know? And that's another issue because we keep allowing those people to maintain their credibility within our shared circles, but they want to hold certain views about women, or not even just women in particular, but any, if they're holding wrong views of inequality against anybody, we shouldn't want to keep welcoming that person into our circles. Because when we're welcoming that person in, we're saying to the people that they disrespect, nah, this place isn't safe for you, so you might as well not even come around here. That's wrong in any situation, but it's especially wrong in work situations because anywhere else, if you're not welcome somewhere, you can wipe your hands of it and you can dip. But a job, that's how you earn your living. That's how your wages, how you pay for your housing, your food, your family, whatever you got to provide for, whatever things you got to take care of. That's how you do it. So you shouldn't have to be with stuck with the options of stick it out through this trash work environment or just quit. Like that's not something that should be viable, or it's not viable, and that's not something that should even be a thought or something that a decision that some people have to even think about making. Fudge, bro. All right, man. This the fourth time I did it because each time I mess it up in a different way, but I'm gonna get it right this time. But basically, I wanted to come and really hit this point home with this specific example and really make use of the words oppression and coercion. So when you're oppressing someone, you have some kind of authoritative power over a specific individual to influence their life's decisions in a way that you wouldn't have if you didn't have that said power. And so when you have that power, you can coerce someone into doing something for your benefit, even though they don't want to. And the way that you do that is that you put them between a rock and a hard place. So you can say, when people want to say, oh, slavery was a choice, it wasn't, because you either were a slave or you got whipped, killed, abused, your body parts, whatever they wanted to do with you, they was going to do it because you didn't obey them when they told you to just sit, be a good slave, you know? And so that's the same thing when we take it into the work environment where we have specifically women, and they're saying there's a lot of sexist comments or sexist behavior occurring all throughout any type of work environment. And we continue to not only participate in it, but be bystanders of those different effects. And then we say, well, you can take it or leave it, man. You know, this is how we are. And if you have an issue with it, you can find another place to work. That's that's not okay. It's not legal. It's immoral, and it's just wrong. Even if it was legal, that should not sit with you, right? You should not want to be a part of that kind of environment, because now when you're doing that, you're saying, all right, well, choose between this job and your livelihood. How are you going to pay for your bills? Whatever you got to pay for. That's not right, bruh. And this is happening not just with women, but with a lot of marginalized groups where they're forced to choose between making money and openly being disrespected, violated, and endangered in places where they have to exist in order to physically survive. But that should do it. That's about it, though. A large part of the reason that we continue to allow these people in our circles is because it's not like they're a flat out enemy. Like a lot of times, these are people, they can be people you've grown up with, they can be people you've worked alongside of for a really long time, they can be friends that you've had for a really long time. But when it comes, there are certain lines that you cannot cross and allow them to go unaddressed, you know? And so a lot of men in particular, when it comes to addressing another man about the way he's treating a woman, guys don't want to bump heads. They don't want to have a conflict there. And sometimes it's because of whatever insecurities or alpha dog, beta complex they got going on between them, which is a whole nother thing. Because, bro, why do you feel like you need to be the alpha in every situation? Why do you feel like there has to be levels to where you are with the people around you, where you are? just be you and let them be them, you know. But because we do have that, we have guys who kind of submit to an alpha, or not even to an alpha, but to just a sense of belonging. And because they want to belong, they want to be one of the guys so much, so bad, that they don't speak out. Like they don't, they're a bystander when women are disrespected, when they're talked to in a harmful way, when they're treated badly. Like all types of sexual harassment, verbal sexual harassment, physical sexual harassment, they either do it themselves, or they'll watch other people do it without doing anything because they don't want to be ostracized. They see how bad that someone who works with them, someone who they is like, it's another human being. That's how they're being treated. And they're like, dang, I don't want that for myself. But we can't be happy being accepted by people who reject others for something like gender. That's whack, bro. Like that's insane. And in fact, while we're on the topic, I think it's really ironic that with the large amount of homophobia that we have in our country and in our world, I think it's real ironic that we have a lot of guys who will who will really prioritize their loyalty to another man who's putting down another human being over like being nice to a woman, being respectful and honoring the respect and defending the honor of a woman. But you're gonna sit here and wag your tail for another dude, like something not adding up. And if we're gonna talk about it that way, that's just that just becomes a conversation of insecurities, you know. And it shouldn't be to the point where you're so insecure about yourself and about being accepted that you're willing to go as far to hurt others. You gotta look at a woman as a person first. You can't say, oh, she's a woman, so she's entitled to certain rights. No, she's a person, so she's entitled to certain rights. That's part of the reason that male supremacy and male superiority is so deeply ingrained. We've divided gender and sex so much that we really start to look at it as two separate types of humans. Long story short, we just need a lot more people ready to accept the fact that they may have been contributing to sexist beliefs and sexist cultures, and just step up and say, all right, now I'm cool off that. Today's a day where that doesn't sit well with me anymore, where I can't continue to carry my everyday behavior knowing that this is something that I let slide. And in a lot of situations, you can make the argument that women do so much more things better than men do, but just because men had that however many year head start of being able to go to college, being able to get those educations and get those positions and form that nepotism and favoritism, that they just have the positions where they are now. Like if men and women that started at the same exact spot, allowed to get education and go to work at the same exact times, there's no telling what our world would look like right now. So just step up and just, bro, be a good person, man. If you can't define a woman without using any kind of words that involve sexual attraction or desires or anything about her body, her physicality, the way that she's shaped, if you can't define a woman without making it sexual, that's a good place to start, bro, because like I said, a woman is a person before she's a woman. That's going to be all I got for this one. Let me know, comment down below. You can hit me on IG, Twitter. That's it, because I don't really get into nothing else. Y'all can hit me on there. Hit me in the comments about what you thought. If you disagree, agree, anything else you want to hear about. But other than that, I'm going to get up out of here.
I just want to stay awake just to feel in my space. Cause when we don't speak often, I can feel it getting awkward. I don't want to fall away from you. So let down your walls. Taking this letter to grave. Get to these feelings from me. Talking about my kinfolk, I just can't afford to be supported less than 10 toes. Where was you when I was busy stressing about my billfold? Trying to keep the weight from breaking me, feel like I just might crash. All my life I need the bag. tryna slow, they wishing I would break. Dying me in practice, while them celebrated hits us on my name. Hey. All eyes on me, feel the pressure building in my bones. Pray that God he great.